Welcome back to another episode of Gamer Zero, where we spread that gamer truth like a virus. I'm your host, T Hill. So, if you've seen the title, you already know this is the DCUO review. Before I get into that, I hope you guys enjoyed the new intro that I enjoyed making. I've been sick for the last week or so, and it came to a climax on Friday, Saturday, and most of Sunday. I'm feeling a little bit better, only about 70%. So I'm sorry I haven't been able to drop another review since then. The swag bag contest, you guys won it all. I'll be announcing who the winners are in the next day once I get it all bundled up, and then I'll be announcing the day it's going out in the mail once I get the contact information from the winners. So I'll be sending it out to you guys. So let's get into the DCUO. I'm going to keep this brief because this is a long game and there's so much content, and I wanted to do it justice, but at the same time, not just go into extensive. It's a lot of content. So DCUO, let me set up the premise for you. The game is set as if the heroes and the villains in the future, the heroes fall. Villains win. Lex Luthor ends up thinking he's gonna be this great champion of human race because he took down Superman, the aliens, and these heroes have finally fallen. Unfortunately, Brainiac steals his thunder, and he ends up stealing these things called exobytes and taking him back to the past and spreads them across the earth. Well, the exobytes contain the powers of the heroes and villains of the future. So when he spreads it to Earth, it disseminates those powers to the average human. So that way, the humans of the past now have a fighting chance for when Brainiac comes to take over. So that's the premise of the game. It pretty much explains why your character has powers. But just like I said, there's a lot of content, so I'll make this brief. Graphics. The graphics are nice. It's very stylized. It's all running on, I believe, the Unreal Engine. Beautiful game. Character models are very stunning, detailed. Landscapes are an MMO. Highly detailed for an MMO. Water's nice. Physics are cool. Like, you can pick up a bus, throw it around, throw cars and stuff, pick up tons of different objects. So it has like the Havoc physics engine, which is nice. It's just another beautiful touch to an MMO. Makes everything a little more tactile and more immersive when you are interacting in this DC Universe world. All in all, I didn't have any problems with the graphics. Everything's pretty stylized. If you have a slow internet connection, it could hamper the quality. I didn't really notice it, but then again, I have a pretty good internet connection. I don't know what you would need to make it run optimally on your PlayStation 3, which is what I'm playing off of. All in all, graphics are stunning. The story is told through either narrative parts or through comic book paint cutscenes, which is really cool because the art style is really nice and very colorful, very bright. Enjoyed the graphics a lot. Combat and gameplay, really cool. This is the meat of the game. There's so much stuff. I could spend 5 hours talking to you about all the different features, so I'll just briefly run it down to you. Combat is very intuitive. You've got your regular melee, you've got your brawler attacks or your hand blasters, or there's so many off the break. You can, when you create your character, you get to choose different types of powers, whether it be fire, ice, element, one of the elements, mental, technical, sorcery. So there's those, but you can also, if you're like in a rush, you can just make me a character like Superman, make me a character like Batman, which is cool. So it sets you up as very similar to their style, and then you can tweak it afterwards. But so once you pick that out, you've got tons of other options if you want to go detailed. Tons of different skins, tons of different mentor style types. If you want to look more like Lex Luthor or Deathstroke or Flash, you can do that. There's tons of optimizations, Catwoman, things like that. There's so much additional content if you want to go that deep. So once you get into the gameplay, it's super intuitive. If you're a flyer, it's easy to fly around. It's easy to brawl. The only thing that could use a little work is the lock-on mechanic. It is a little slow. I would have liked it to be a little bit better, but it just doesn't. It seems like it's more tuned for one-on-one combat, and not when you have multiple people on you. It has trouble tracking. Not that much of a big deal, but it can be a little hampering at times. There's so much meat to the combat. People said, "Oh, this is just a button masher." That's not true. You can play it as a button masher, but I guarantee you're going to get your ass handed to you if you try to play PvP against somebody who's not playing it like a button masher. There's so much depth to it. Each type of power you get 2 trees of power trees you can follow under. And then you got an iconic tree, which is based off like the superheroes, like Superman, Batman. And you can assign, as you go up levels, you can assign the points that you get from going up levels to different trees, whether it's iconic or you're based on your element or your flight type or running type. So there's those different stuff. So there's tons of meat there. If you really want to strategize your character, you can, because there's enough content there to make your character completely different than my character. And even though we pick the same mentor, so there's a lot of guts there for you to dissect, which is cool, because if it was just a brawler, you'd probably get bored in the sandbox world. But because there's all that, there's so much more. Plus, say you don't like your character halfway through the game, you can go to the watchtower or whatever, pay some money, and then get all those points back, and then reassign them however you feel like, which is a nice. You don't have to spend another 40 hours in another character to make them completely different. It's a cool, neat little feature that adds replayability with that same character, and not a frustrating replayability. Excuse me, I just finished eating. But on top of that, say you don't like the way your character looks, you can change that at any one point in time. If you have an armor that you like, you favor the appearance, but you get an armor that has better stats, you can take the new armor with the better stats, equip that, but keep the appearance of the armor you really like. So that way you never have to be forced to look a certain way. You can always look like that badass superhero you want, which is cool. Then there's like, to going into the gameplay, there's tons and tons of mission types, tons of missions. It took me like 40 hours to get to end game content, and then once you get to end game content, there was like 90 hours, I'd say, 90 missions, which is about an hour and a half each mission, that opened up for me. So there's tons of stuff you can do. This in and of itself becomes a problem, and I'll get to that in a minute. There's just so much content. You could be playing this for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours and still be having a blast every single bit of the way. The story, like I said, is told out through panes. It's all narrated, which is great, because if you're trying to multitask, you don't have to focus in on one thing or the other. You can just enjoy hearing it and like watching it, instead of being forced to read something. I know people's time is precious and you multitask a lot, so it's nice that it is all vocals. Really cool thing. So replayability, there's tons, and like I said, tons and tons and tons and tons of content. You can make your character so many different ways. You can make so many different characters on either a PvP world, which is just player versus player. Every time you run against somebody, boom, you're funking. Or you can do PvE, and if you want to, you can switch on to PvP while you're on that PvE server. So you can then go head to head against other people in designated fashions instead of just a free-for-all. So there's so much content. You will have a blast with it. Now we're coming down to the end of this review. The problems: one, it's $15 a month subscription. Not that bad. That's not that bad. I hope that they resolve whatever issues they're having. SOE resolves those, and we get to see a lifetime sub for the PlayStation 3. The PC version has one. The PlayStation 3 does not. I don't know why that's not the case yet. You would have thought that would have been a major incentive to have them both in the same boat. But the $15 a month can be a little steep for people, especially in this economy. But that's not where the problem so much comes in. The problem comes in once you hit that end game content level 30 and all those missions open up. What happens at that point is where it's like, crap. If you don't have a lot of friends who are buying this game, or have a lot of online friends who have this game, or you just come across lots of people who have level 30 characters and are ready to get into high-end missions, you're going to kind of get locked out of going further in the game, which is a problem, especially when you're paying $15 a month. You're going to want to be able to play those missions of your own skill, but you can't do it because Those missions are geared towards team-based strategy. And if you don't have a good team, you're not going to make it very far. So something to consider when you're buying this game. 1, are your friends going to buy it? 2, are they going to pay the subscription fee? 3, are they going to keep paying the subscription fee to get to the end game content and further in? So things you have to take care of. And those are 2 negatives for me. Not from the game, but from the financials and the structure of just the logic of an MMO. People are already used to these, but I just want to forewarn you if you're not familiar with what's going on with this game. So giving it a score, I'd have to give it a 4 out of 5 badasses. I thoroughly love the game. Personal opinion, it's a 5 out of 5 because I don't care about the $15 sub, and I have friends online. But for those who don't have those 2 things, it's definitely going to be a 4 out of 5 for everyone else. Because if you don't have those things, you got to really weigh out the $65 purchase. Just something for you to think about. Again, that's 4 out of 5 badasses. As always, you can follow me on hiphopgamershow.com. On Twitter, it's T_Hill0. Or you can hit me up on PSN, it's T-Hill. As always, I got to give my shoutouts to Hip Hop Gamer. Had fun with you at PAX. I can't wait to hang out with you at E3. It's going to be sick. And then PAX Prime Babies in August. Hung Fat, can't wait to kick it with you. All the boys, Night Gen, Hitman, Payback, Venomous, Booty Bandit. I just wanted to say thanks. Anthony Frazier, good looks. Thank you for giving me some tips while we're at the PAX event. I had a pleasure meeting Tor. It was just Blacksmith, you're an awesome guy. Black Bible, another cool cat. Yeah, that's all I got. I'm out. Peace.